Welcome to my world, bitch.
Never grow old, Michael.
The blackest eyes, the deathless eyes.
Showtime.
Hey everybody, this is Ryan with Sinister Scripts Podcast,
And this is David.
where we talk about all the horror movies you love and know, and probably a few that you don't. So today's episode, we are going to be reviewing the 2024 independent slasher film, In a Violent Nature. This one got quite a bit of hype coming out of theaters earlier this year. I think it was in May. We're just getting around to it because, you know, we got shit to do.
Yeah, we got shit outside of this.
So, In a Violent Nature, I didn't even look up a couple of facts about this one. I know it was an independent film. I don't even know any of the main actors and actresses.
I mean, I've got some stuff pulled up.
All right,
if you
well
want
then
me to go
shit. Hell
through
yeah,
it.
I do.
Okay.
Let me know about this film.
All right, so yeah, it was directed by Chris Nash. And then I'll burn through the cast kind of quickly. Let's see. We got Rye Barrett as Johnny, so that's the main killer. We got Andrea Pavlovich. I hope I'm saying that right.
That's Chris.
That's Chris, yeah. Cameron Love is Colt. We got Reese Presley, the Ranger, who I love that guy. He was funny. Liam Leon is Troy. Charlotte Cregan, who's Aurora, who I believe is the yoga girl.
Correct. Everybody, that'll come into play. Everybody will know that name. So.
Yeah, everybody will know that. We got Leah Rose Sebastianius. I butchered that. I'm not bad. Is Brody. Sam Ralston is Aaron. That's a weird way of spelling Aaron. It's like Ehren.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Alexander Oliver is Evan. And Timothy Paul McCart. And then it cuts off, so maybe McCartney is Chuck. Yeah, no, McCarthy. My bad. And then I think that's about it.
Any box office numbers?
Yeah, let me get right back to it because I just jumped out of it by mistake. Where is it?
Oh, I got it. 4.2 million.
Okay, cool, because I don't see it.
It was distributed by IFC Films originally, and is going to be distributed by Shudder. So it'll be on Shudder, I think, pretty soon.
Should be. Yeah.
If it's not on there now, it's going to be on there within a month. I saw an ad for it.
Yeah, I know it's not on there now because I just saw where you can watch it, and it's all like you can rent it on a bunch of platforms, but not like just throw it on for free.
Gotcha.
Yet,
So it originally debuted in January of 2024 at the Sundance Film Festival, and then released into theaters on May 31st. So before we get into the scene by scene, I think this was probably one of my most anticipated films of the year. I feel like this year for horror is fucking rocked. We've seen a number of bangers this year.
There's a ton coming out.
We just got out of Long Legs, and now I'm like, there's more. There's a ton coming out this year. But this early in the year, this was one that I was most excited about. Being a huge Friday the 13th fan, you'd be dumb if you didn't see the parallels between the two films.
Exactly.
But it was like a different take, and I know that people are like, it's not a unique take. It's been done before. Yes, it's been done before, but this was a third-person film shot from the direction of the killer
The
entire time. So it is a slow burn. It's a very slow burn. A lot of people didn't like that about it. That's why I kind of consider it kind of divisive. People were like, oh, I either loved it or I hated it. But
yeah.
That's kind of my take on it. So I was really excited about it. Going into this, I think that kind of maybe hurt my rating because I was so pumped for it. And then when I saw it, not that it was bad, but it wasn't. I don't think it lived up to what I had built it up to be.
Yeah, I can see that.
And we can talk about our ratings afterwards.
Right, yeah.
So, all right. So let's get into the scene by scene.
Jump into it.
So a group of friends discovers a locket hanging on a remains of an old fire tower in the woods. One of them, Troy, douchebag, pockets it. So you can kind of see where this is going. Moments later, the corpse of Johnny rises from the ground.
Slowly but surely.
Enraged, he is searching for his locket, and he begins walking through the woods. He pauses at the sight of a rotting fox, and it hears a nearby argument between two men who is setting traps for the fox. Johnny walks to a house and enters unnoticed. When he sees a necklace that he mistakes for his locket, he has a flashback memory of his father. The homeowner soon returns, but is horrified by Johnny, and he runs away into the woods. He gets his leg stuck in the own bear trap and then is killed violently by Johnny. Later, Johnny hears a car in the distance and starts pursuing it. So Johnny approaches. Actually, let's stop there. Stop there. That's kind of the first intro set of scenes before we get into the group of friends.
Yeah.
This is. Sorry about that. Didn't mute my damn TV. It's like an amateur hour in this bitch.
Just watching Lost Boys in the background while we're talking about something else.
Don't mind us. Anyway, so this is kind of the first intro we get to Johnny, and it's very interesting how they shot this film. Like it being in a theater, there was only there's probably only 8 or 10 people in there with us, and like the quiet.
Yeah.
The sound design to me was fucking awesome. I loved. It was like you were sitting in the woods.
Like you were there because you hear every leaf getting crunched with every step, every little snap of a twig. Like it was very loud. It was
and there's no score. There's no music to this. There's no like dun dun dun. There's no like when something happens. It's nothing. It's literally just you see this locket hanging on a branch or a piece of the fire tower that used to be there, and the douche nozzle grabs it and leaves, and you kind of hear other people talking,
but you never see
them, and then you just see Johnny kind of rising from the grave.
Yeah.
Couple problems I had with this beginning scenes, and I'm just gonna because it bothered me a lot now that I'm like rereading this.
Yeah.
Number one, like what the fuck was the locket hanging on? Like it was like at a weird angle. It wouldn't have just hung there.
It was a pipe, wasn't it? Like there was like a pipe in the ground, and it was like
a circular pipe.
Yeah, a circular pipe. So like the wind could have blown that thing off.
That was just that was just a plot hole to me. But what I mean, I guess I can look past it. And then the second thing is like, do you know how hard it would be to fucking claw your way out of the ground?
I mean, that's probably why it took them so goddamn long to do it. I mean, because the camera's like positioned in that one angle for what, like close to 10 minutes? Maybe we're like 6 or 7 minutes.
It was a pretty lengthy.
It was lengthy, so it did take him a while to finally unearth himself.
Yeah, so I thought that was a couple small qualms I had with it, but as he comes out and he, it's literally shot, like I said, third person, so the camera's behind him, so you see the back of the killer, and he is just crunching his way through the woods, and you're hearing all the birds, the leaves, the wind blowing, I mean, everything.
Creeks and stuff.
I thought it was cool. I liked the very avant-garde kind of like approach to it. I was fine with it. I thought it was kind of a cool start to it. And then when he gets into this house and the guy runs away from seeing him, and then he steps in the bear trap, I was like, okay, this is kind of like, usually most horror movies start this way where you've got that first kill, kind of, and it's like he steps in his own trap. Like, douchebag is illegally like poaching animals in the forest. He probably got what he deserves.
Yeah, because that's what the ranger was bitching at him about, was doing all that stuff. So
yeah, so anyway, so that's kind of where we start here. So we'll start with the second set of scenes, which is Johnny approaches the group of friends who is now sitting around a campfire. One of them, Aaron, recounts Johnny's death. Decades prior, Johnny, who was developmentally disabled, son of a local merchant at this logging camp, was tricked into climbing this fire tower in search of a big bag of toys. A number of the log workers were upset because I think didn't one of them slip on a toy car and hurt themselves?
Yeah, something like that. So he's like, "Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna trick this kid into going up there and possibly dying." Like, what if?
What a dick. Yeah, so like he tricks the kid up. He climbs up the tower. There's no one at the top. Someone scares him. He falls and he dies.
Yep.
So that kind of, I'm gonna pause there just for a second because that brings me back to my second point at the beginning. Is like, he died when he was a kid, and when he crawled out of the ground, he was a grown-ass man.
Well, was he a kid, though? Because, he's,
a demon, or like not a demon, like a ghost? Or...
Not only that, but he's like, mentally handicapped. So, like, he could be who he is then.
40?
Like 40 or, I don't know, 25.
Fair enough. Okay.
In between that age range. So, like, he might have had the mind of a child.
Maybe
but I think he was like a grown-ass man.
Okay, fair enough. So. I'm nitpicking here. I'm nitpicking.
I mean... Yeah, like the same thing with Jason. Like Jason drowned as a kid. How is he now a fucking beefed up dude? So.
Which is another. I don't want to say stealing from Friday the 13th, but
they're very similar.
Anyway, so according to the legend, 2 series of murders, decades apart, are attributed to Johnny's vengeful spirit. So after the story, he's telling this ghost story. The group goes inside to the cabin. Aaron goes outside, and he is killed by Johnny with a draw knife. And that draw knife is that it was like the...
It's almost like a paper cutter. Like the big, like, shoof, like the big giant knife thing,
I thought... Was that the one... Yeah, right. No, I'm thinking of the other one.
I thought he had a hacksaw, but I mean, I could be wrong.
Draw knife. Oh, it is a traditional woodworking hand tool used to shape wood by removing shavings.
Yeah.
So it's got handles on both ends and a blade in the middle. So he basically...
And he was behind him, like he was leaning up against a tree.
Yep.
And so, so then he just kind of whipped it around and then sawed through his mouth all the way through his skull.
Yep. So now he's decapitated and dead. So Johnny drags his body to a nearby park ranger's office. Inside, Johnny collects a pair of dragging hooks and an axe and dons an antique firefighter's mask.
Well, let's not gloss over how he got into the building. Because remember, he took the dude's head and threw it through the window.
Sure. I do remember now.
And then he took the body he chucked the body through the window to open so he can get inside. Then he took the top of the head and broke the glass that had that mask.
Yes,
just that was amazing. Like I was wondering why he was dragging that with him the whole time. Like he's carrying this dead kid's body on top of his head, and yeah, he had a plan for it. He had a reason for taking it.
And so the dragging hooks were like two hooks on the end of it's like on the opposite ends of a chain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he he takes the dragging hooks, an axe, and then this antique firefighter's mask.
Yeah.
What did you think about the mask?
I mean, I think it's cool. It's never really, I don't recall ever seeing something like that before. It kind of was very like Minions. I hate to say, it kind of looked like that. But like, I also, like I said, like it's different. I never saw anything quite like that, and I liked how it was an antique, so it was very old looking. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Exactly. So that's kind of we'll stop there. That's this I guess kill number 2, technically the first of the group that he's stalking through this movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was really well done. I thought the scene was kind of like everything did kind of draw out a little bit. Like I said, the whole movie is a slow burn. So if you're going into this and you're expecting nonstop action, like Monkey Man or, John Wick, like you're not going to get action like that on that level. Or even Michael Myers, I mean, which I consider Halloween to be at certain times kind of a slow burn. Like, dude's just walking around stalking. It's similar, but with no musical score and like almost like
or character development either.
Right. And I don't want to, it's not one consecutive shot, but like it's a series of very long shots where like the camera you're not cutting scenes. It's like a lot of, pacing and walking through the woods and walking through to the fire station, breaking in, taking the stuff. Like, so it's very deliberate and it's very slow. So I guess that's like my biggest, pet peeve, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
It is what it is. What'd you expect?
Exactly. All right, let's see where we're at. The second part of
I think this is when he goes after the yoga instructor, because doesn't he see those two girls swimming who are all like...
Yes. So the next morning, Johnny sees Brody and Aurora by the lake. Brody teases Aurora about joining her, while the latter chooses to do yoga instead. So one goes swimming, one goes to do yoga. Johnny literally walks out into the lake like fucking Aquaman.
Yeah, just walks right in there.
Submerges, and then he drags Brody underneath and drowns her.
But like what I thought was funny was the fact that the camera never moved. Like he went under the water, and it was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes of just sitting there watching this girl swimming around like off in the distance. And then you're like waiting, you're like anticipating, like, okay, she's going to get dragged under at some point. When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And then it finally happens. So it was like, ha!
It was, yeah. It's like, so like scenes like that, like I feel like a lot could be cut, but once again, this was deliberately done this way. So exactly. I'm okay with it. So he drowns Brody, and then he goes to find Aurora by the cliffside where she's doing yoga. So when she sees Johnny, she tries to run, only to realize there isn't much of a place to go because she's on the edge of a cliff. And this is where we get probably one of the greatest kills in horror cinema history.
Yes.
Something I've never seen before. I've watched a lot. David's probably watched even more. I mean, we're talking, we've seen people get sawed in half on Terrifier, and there's a lot of memorable kills in movies, or unalivings, whatever you want to call them, to be politically correct. I don't fucking know. A lot of deaths in cinema horror history, and this one might take the cake. I don't know.
It's definitely in my top 3.
So let's see if I can try to explain it. So Johnny impales Aurora with the hooks through her stomach.
Yeah.
Then he goes like up her back and jams the hooks into her head, the back of her head. And then he pulls the hooks so that Aurora's whole head goes through her spinal column and then through the hole that's in her stomach until she's turned into like a human
Inside
pretzel.
Out. Yeah. I was trying to explain it to Stoof the other day when we were talking about this. Yeah, because I was like, I remember like after first seeing it, like Henry and I were digesting in the car. We're like, wait a minute, how exactly did he pull this off again? Like we were trying to do the logistics. Like, okay, so I think like he jams it in her stomach while she's facing him.
Yes.
And then she turns around and then he puts it in her head. But so then she's facing away from him and then he's pulling her head down. So it's like going forward, snaps off, goes through her stomach and then out of her back.
Yes.
I believe is what it was.
Yeah. So maybe he was just helping her with her yoga. She's very flexible.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus. And then did he kick her off the edge?
Then he fucking King Leonidas in the 300 and this is Sparta. Spartan kicks her ass into the fucking ravine.
And then, yeah, because there was the lake was down there. And it was funny because I think it was you that laughed about it in the theater. You're like, oh, man, she was so close. She didn't make it to the water.
Yeah.
She just stopped.
It was kind of comical because like usually they get kicked in the movie and it's like, oh, they're over. But this like watched the whole body tumble down the sideline, down the side of the mountain or cliff, and then just like it was like almost an awkwardly funny scene. Like after this horrific like being impaled and then broken in half.
Yeah,
like it was insane. Like
it was amazing.
I wasn't expecting that, and I kept hearing like, "Oh, there's a kill in this. There's a scene that everyone's gonna remember." I'll just say it, Yoga Girl, and I wasn't. Even then I didn't expect that. We'll see that.
That was something else.
Yeah. So anyway, so at this point, kind of our third set of scenes as we're kind of going towards the ending here, and Johnny stops for a moment and takes off his mask, so we finally get a look at his scarred, decomposing face as he plays with the little toy car
that was on the keychain.
Exactly. So you start hearing some voices of the other teenagers that are there, and they're concerned because they haven't seen Aaron, Brody, and Aurora for a while. So Colt and Chris go to the ranger station while Troy and Evan, the other two, stay behind. Johnny goes after Troy because he saw him put the necklace in his pocket the night before when they were around the fire. So Johnny manages to jam an axe into Troy's leg before Evan shoots the rifle at him. He makes a tourniquet for Troy's leg, and they start to run, but Johnny gets up, throws the axe in the back of Evan's head, and then grabs a huge rock and then smashes Troy's head. Johnny searches for the necklace and then Troy's body, but he doesn't find it.
He doesn't find it, yeah. And this was sorry to cut you off, but this was the part right where he walks up and like sets the car alarm off, and then like apparently at this point he fast tracked his ass all the way around the house because he was before this kid comes outside. Like Johnny's already walked around the entire house and he's back, and he clips him from behind in the knee or whatever. So I thought that was funny. It was like, oh, now you can run.
I mean, he's just very
fast walk.
He's very deliberate. But I thought this scene was kind of cool because I thought the makeup, like Johnny's, it looked really cool.
I like the way he looked. Yeah,
thought it looked cool, and I also liked the idea of him still being a child, like that childlike mind.
Yep.
I thought it really relayed kind of the horrific act, really, of they killed a fucking kid, the loggers, and so now you got this vengeful spirit. So that's I don't feel sorry for them. That's what you get.
Exactly.
That's what you get. So now we've got most of our party has been killed. So we've got Chris and Colt return after they find
like immediately.
Aaron's corpse at the station. So do you remember Johnny threw the corpse through the door? They found it. Johnny sees Chris is wearing the necklace. He throws the axe at her, but she dodges it before her and Colt run away.
Yeah.
Now it's dark again, and Johnny tracks Colt and Chris down as they meet with the local ranger. He knows that the necklace belonged to Johnny's mother and that the only thing that's keeping Johnny's soul at rest. So we kind of get an idea here of like the vengeful spirit, where basically the necklace was his mother's, and that's if it's returned, it'll allow him to kind of like be buried again.
Because that's how he had that flashback, because he picked up a different necklace.
Exactly. So the last time Johnny woke up, this caused a massacre. So the ranger's father was the only survivor. They see Johnny. The ranger shoots him, but it's only going to slow him down. You can't kill him. This is kind of like that immortal kind of Jason style.
Yeah, exactly.
The ranger tells Chris and Colt to grab chains to hold him, but as the ranger passes the gun to Colt, Johnny grabs the rifle, which Chris and Colt take off running, and the ranger is not so lucky.
No.
And he gets brought down after Johnny basically like breaks his spinal cord. Yeah, exactly. So then he drags the ranger inside to use a machine for chopping wooden logs to dismember the ranger.
This was another very slow.
Yeah, you
slow
got like
death.
a 10-minute scene of this like it's like a piston engaged like firewood splitter that he like puts the guy's arm in there and cuts his arm off first, and then like
first he tested it on wood.
Yeah, he's like, oh, this might work.
Yeah, and then then he puts his arm on there, and like I remember laughing and being like, man, is he just gonna torture this guy and cut off all his arms and shit?
Right.
Like, no, like he just cuts off his arm and then
his head,
and that was kind of hard to watch because it was so slow. And this guy is paralyzed, so he can't feel it, but he knows what's happening. Like, can you imagine being that guy? Like, just staring at it and be like, well, this is how I die.
Yeah, my arm's gone, but I can't feel it.
Because that douchebag wouldn't chain him up because he's too big of a pussy.
Exactly. So now there's down to two. Chris and Colt. Colt is an awful name for it.
He's a douchebag name.
So they realize that the only way to stop Johnny is by returning this necklace. So they lure Johnny there. They wait for him before Colt tries to create the distraction. This is like kind of comical because like it's like this whole plan. Chris has this bear trap and gas, and Colt appears behind Johnny and starts taunting him. And basically Johnny just axes him in the face
immediately. Like it was just like, hey, da 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 da, and then thump.
Like you guys have it's a bad plan. So Chris leaves the necklace on the canister of gas.
Yeah,
and she just takes off running.
She's like, fuck this.
Bye.
Which is how anybody should respond.
Exactly. So she runs, and then she ends up injuring her leg, falling down. Like it's like
because she's running all night. Like it was a very long scene of her running around all night.
So she makes it to the road, and then she flags down a car, and then the driver, played by Lauren Marie Taylor, helps Chris and drives her towards town, and they start asking questions to make sure she's lucid. And this is probably the number one scene that I had the biggest problem with in the whole movie.
For sure.
It was like 15 fucking minutes in this car ride, and the story about like this woman's brother who was involved in a bear attack, and we couldn't tell if it was really a bear or was she talking about the Johnny.
Was he attacked by Johnny? That's what I thought they were going to go with.
She tells Chris she'll be okay, just like her brother. Like it's this whole like conversation, and you keep thinking, okay, Johnny's coming out of the woods.
Yeah, one last final.
She even stops, pulls the car over to like retie the tourniquet on her leg, and you're thinking the whole time like her back's to the woods. Johnny's gonna come out.
He's gonna come out and kill her, and
nothing.
Fucking
nothing. Like there was no payoff. The final scene is just. It shows the bear trap and the canister where she left the necklace, and then the necklace is gone, and it's like a scene into the woods where it's just like, that's it.
Yeah, that I did not like that ending whatsoever. Because like if you've already, that's my also problem with the movie too is like the rewatchability is pretty low because if you've already seen it, then you can just stop the movie after the last kill, after he like hacks that dude in the face with an axe like. I don't know how many times, like, hopefully somebody out there can let us know. Like, I want to know how many times he axed that dude.
It got comical.
We were all laughing.
You killed him with the first one, and then it was like 30, 40 strike. I mean,
I think it was more than that.
Because there's no score. All you hear is the thunk, 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 thunk,
sounding like
over and over.
Bashing a watermelon.
And like, and literally everyone in the theater was kind of like, "Oh my Jesus!" And so by like the 30th hack, everyone's kind of chuckling. Like, it's kind of funny. Like, I don't know if that was intentional, or if that was just like him, like his frustration.
Yeah, he had a lot of it apparently. Jesus.
So so that's kind of how the movie ends.
Just
I guess we can talk about our ratings.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get that out of the way.
I think I don't remember what I rated it in our TikTok video. I can't remember, but now that I'm like,
I feel like we're probably gonna rate it lower than we did that night.
I think I rated it a 7.
That sounds about right.
I feel like I'd probably put it like a 6 now. Like I drop it a point, not because it's a bad movie. Like and that's what I want to stress, and I think I stressed it on our video on TikTok.
I believe you did so. Yeah.
Like this isn't saying it's a bad movie. I just think that like based on what I wanted it to be, and I thought there were a lot of really good things. I mean, it just, you have to be in a certain frame of mind to watch a movie like that.
Yes.
Like you have to go into it, like I said, knowing that there's no music, that this is drawn out. It is a lot. Yes, the number one complaint, it is a lot of a dude walking through the fucking woods.
Yes, it is.
But I also will kind of counter that with, what the fuck do you think Michael Myers and Jason are doing when they're not hacking these kids up? They're walking through the fucking woods.
They're getting to their next target. So
Exactly.
I thought that was cool.
So I'm okay with
aspect.
it. I think you cut the last 20 minutes out. That last conversation in the car was not needed.
No.
Or if it's, maybe they're going to release like a director's cut and maybe Johnny does hop out of the pod.
Or
Like if he had popped out of the woods and grabbed the lady and like that was the end, like that would have been fine. I would have been fine with that. I'd been like, cool.
Yeah, cool.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
Like,
I would like, I'd like to see more from Johnny. I kind of hope that they do take this character and have more stuff from him. I don't know if they will. I don't know if this is a one and done. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see on it. So I'll give it a 6 out of 10. For me, like anything over like a 5 is like, watch it.
Yeah, watch it for sure.
It's definitely worth watching. Like I said, it'll be on Shudder here soon. So if you subscribe to Shudder, you can go watch it. You can on Amazon Prime, you can rent it. I'll check right now while David's giving his rating and see.
So my rating, I think I was probably like 7.5 initially. I'm gonna piggyback off of you. I'm gonna give it a 6 as well. Like, yeah, it's like Ryan has said time and time again. It is a slow burn. Oh, there it is. In a Violent Nature. It's probably like $6. $7. $7.
So you can rent it on Amazon for $7.
Oh, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2's on there also. Nice. Anyways, but also I really enjoyed the death scenes in it, and that's part of the reason why I love movies like that. Is because you're sick. Yeah, it's because I'm not right in the head. I enjoy those kind of like over the top craziness fucking kills in movies. So that one, I really did appreciate the kills in the movie. If they had just done something different with the ending, my rating would be a lot higher. Like, because then the rewatchability would be better for me. Like, I don't care that there's like 5-minute scenes of him walking in the woods. Like, I think it built a good atmosphere while you're watching it. I loved it. So I just wish they did something completely different with the ending. That's my complaint.
That's fair. I think that's the biggest complaint. I thought overall, I think it was a fun watch. I think it was definitely a new take on the slasher genre. Yes. So I appreciate them trying something new. It's something I will add to my collection. Like I said, you can go out there, you can watch this one on Amazon for $7. If you have Shudder, you can subscribe. It's going to be on there soon. Yeah. So go out there, check out In a Violent Nature. It's definitely worth your watch. If you're a horror fan, if you're a slasher fan, if nothing more than to watch the yoga scene so you can see
that.
To see something that is probably, like, once again, I've seen a lot of different ways that people were killed in movies, horror movies, and I've never seen this one. So for that to shock that many people, and for that many people to be like, if you hear this movie title and they're like, oh yeah, the yoga scene, like it imprinted on people's minds. So if nothing more, and honestly, the movie's not all that long. I think it's only an hour.
It's like an hour and a half, I think.
Yeah, hour and a half. So if you cut the 15-minute bullshit ending off of it, this is a really easy watch.
Yeah, it's an easy watch.
So anyway, I think that'll about wrap us up for today.
Wrapping us up. All right, cool. All right, so yeah, that's it for today's Sinister Script review of In a Violent Nature. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into this independent slasher film and enjoyed the review. And don't forget, the review doesn't end here. We'd love to hear your thoughts, questions, and feedback. You can find us on all major social media platforms. Follow us on TikTok at Sinister Scripts Podcast, Instagram and Facebook at Sinister Scripts for more horror content, behind-the-scenes looks, and more engaging discussions. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review wherever you may be listening and share it with your friends. If you didn't enjoy it, well then fuck you.
Exactly.
Also, if you have any topics you'd like us to cover or guests you'd like to hear from, feel free to DM us or drop us a comment on our social media pages. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.
Bye, guys.
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner. Bye.